webinar will begin shortly. Please remain on the line. The webinar will begin shortly. Please remain on the line. The webinar will begin shortly. Please remain on the line. The webinar will begin shortly. Please remain on the line. The webinar will begin shortly. Please remain on the line. The webinar will begin shortly. Please remain on the line. The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good afternoon. This is Michael Lujan, Director of the Small Business Health Options Program for Covered California. I'd like to thank you for joining today's agent webinar for Covered California. Today's webinar is intended for licensed agents and will cover a broad range of topics related to the licensed agent's role in the state exchange called Covered California. This webinar is being recorded and our PowerPoint slides will be posted on our website. For agents viewing this webinar online, we invite you to ask questions using the comments box on your screen. We'll do our best best to answer as many questions as possible during this 1-hour webinar. If we're not able to answer your question, we'll do our best to post responses online as quickly as possible. Let me also add that we noted that there are probably more people that would like to attend the webinar than we have ports. So our apologies for not being able to accommodate everyone. If you have others in your office who are attending this webinar from their own offices, if you can huddle together in one room, that would free up a few lines for other people to join us. Otherwise, we'll have the recording made available, and again, we'll make the comments available online and a recorded webinar. We have a very full agenda, so we'll go ahead and get started now. Today, this is a webinar, the first of several agent webinars. We posted other Assister Navigator webinars recently. Those will continue also. But this is the first of several webinars that are intended specifically for licensed agents. For our agenda today, I apologize, I forgot I'm supposed to be working the clicker. For our focus today will be on the basic information agents have asked us to provide to help them understand their role in the health insurance marketplace and how to get ready for 2014. These are a few important topics like what is the exchange mission and vision for licensed insurance agents? How can you get trained and ready to sell in the exchange? And what will be offered in the exchange? And when will it all be available? We'll do our best to answer as many of those questions today. And again, any questions we cannot answer, we'll post on the website as quickly as possible. I already see a few questions being prompted and a few shout outs from old friends. Good to hear from you too. We're going to focus our meeting today on agent related topics, and we'll address the more technical questions in future meetings. I see a bunch of really good questions being asked around scenarios for groups under or over 50 and penalties and all of that sort of stuff. We'll get to as many of those as we can, but again, this is intended to be an overview of the agent's role, and we'll cover some of these other questions in a future meeting. So today, we'll answer as many as we can, give you some resources, and also give you ways to get connected to updates so you can help prepare your business planning and also educate your clients. We'll also leave some time at the end to answer some questions and answers. If you're following along, for those of you that are dialed in on just the audio, again, these will be posted, and I'll try to describe things so that you're not missing what you're not seeing. Covered California is the name of our state exchange. As you might know, all states under the Affordable Care Act must either create a state exchange, partner with the Fed, or allow the federal government to run their state exchange. Very proud to say that California was the first state to declare our commitment to build our own state exchange. We're obviously a very large state and with a lot of diversity and a lot of valuable experience and lessons learned from past history with state exchange concepts. If you have been in the business and remember the HIPIC, we're most definitely leveraging our experience learned from the Health Insurance Plan of California and all of that, leveraging that experience to build a successful and sustainable exchange for California. As part of our vision in doing that, we will improve the health of all Californians by assuring access to affordable, high-quality coverage. There are an estimated 5.3 million Californians estimated in California without health insurance coverage today. Many of these uninsured are due to unaffordability or pre-existing conditions. Many of the uninsured are employed. Some are offered employer-sponsored coverage, others are not. Many are self-employed or students, unemployed, part-time workers, seasonal workers, and a variety of other scenarios where access to affordability of health insurance has not been made easy. We at the exchange estimate that there are about 2.7 million Californians who might be eligible for a premium tax subsidy, and another 2.6 million not eligible for subsidies, but they're ready to get insured now that they cannot be refused coverage due to pre-existing conditions in 2014. All of that said, the period will be very important to getting California covered in either employer-sponsored coverage or in individual plans. This next slide helps illustrate the role agents will serve in the health insurance marketplace in 2014. As licensed insurance agents, you'll continue to serve an entire marketplace, both the individual and the small business market segments, both in and outside of the exchange. Being certified as a licensed agent certified through Covered California will also mean that agents will be trained and certified to assist with the enrollment of Medi-Cal and CHIP programs, something some agents do today as CAAs and might be new for other agents, but that's an important point that it would be new role for some agents. Again, we have 5.3 million uninsured in California, and we truly need agents' help to help reach these folks and get them covered in health insurance. So I'm going to address some of the questions that are most common, some of the most common questions we get from agents around what are their expectations, what will be required of agents in their role in Covered California. And some of this is familiar. I think we already have an insurance code and health and safety code requirements that say agents will firmly, affirmatively and fairly display or market plans available in California. The Affordable Care Act has similar requirements in the spirit of what the ACA requires, and also by contract, agents who are certified in Covered California will be required and expected to distribute fair and impartial information concerning the enrollment of qualified health plans and the availability of premium tax credits. What essentially that means is we're trying to get California covered in a variety of different plans, both traditional, some Medi-Cal or non-traditional plans, some subsidized and some not. The expectation of certified agents would be that they would help facilitate enrollment in all coverage. And I'll get into a little bit more detail what that means in its specifics. Common question I get often from agents asks about web-based agents. Many agents today have websites or have some sort of linkage on their website that allows them to directly enroll or quote and connect to a carrier website. And we recognize that there's some huge efficiencies and certainly a lot easier for your customers to be able to shop and enroll at midnight on a Thursday and without necessarily having an in-person or telephone assistant. We do plan on and would very much like to have agents connected on our website to provide some kind of web-based connectivity, but that may not be available right out of the gate. So I want to be clear that what we're describing in our new marketplace, that in our website functionality, agents would be enrolling their customers on our website. So an agent would create a profile. So after you get trained and certified, an agent would create a profile on Covered California, and from that website you would enroll either in person or telephonic your customers via that web channel. So we will keep you posted and let you know if there's going to be some sort of connectivity or interface that allows us to connect automatically from your website to ours. But just want to make sure you understand how the program will work when it gets launched for January of 2014. Another common question is leads, and there's going to be a tremendous amount of marketing and outreach to try to reach these 5.3 million uninsured, and as well as the millions of insured folks who we'd like to help maintain coverage. So when we talk about leads, anyone who is going to submit an inquiry or a request to be referred to an agent is absolutely going to find certified agents are going to be searchable on our website. So if someone does a search on the website, they'll be able to look up in proximity to where they are within some zip code radius and find the available agents to help enroll. And again, this is going to be something only agents that are certified with Covered California will be receiving leads from us. And also co-op programs. Co-op marketing programs are and have been very popular over the years. We definitely have that on our radar to consider what types of co-op collateral material and other strategies that will help agents to get some co-op credit or funds or some type of program to help agents. We'll have a little bit more information on that, but I just wanted to let the group know that we're thinking about that and just don't have the details yet. We're already getting questions, so this is good timing. I think a lot of you are right on track with the flow of this presentation. Agent training and certification is being developed now, so we're working on the training curriculum that would be required to get agents certified and trained. So I'll go through very quickly the 4 steps to getting trained and certified with Covered California. Is 1, to have an active California life and health agent license in good standing. That would be maybe a very obvious one. 2 would be to complete the agent training offered by Covered California. And I emphasize, those of you looking at the webinar, I've underlined offered by Covered California. I want to be very clear that only the training and certification offered by Covered California will satisfy this requirement. I know that there's a ton of CE credits and webinars, seminars, all sorts of other classroom or self-study programs that you can take. None of those, unless they're offered by Covered California, none of those will satisfy this certification requirement. So I want to be clear. Number 3, getting certified. There will be an exam at the end of the certification. We heard loud and clear from many agents that want to make sure that that any agent can't simply sit in a room and do the time and thus be certified. So there is an exam at the end of that, which would require the agent to demonstrate that they did in fact learn what we showed them and are ready to serve the California enrollment effort. And then of course, number 4, signing an agent agreement. You are not certified until you both complete the training, demonstrate that you have a license in good standing, pass the test, and of course sign the agent agreement, which we'll cover in a little bit more detail. I see there's a few questions related to the certification being offered online and all of that. I think the next slide addresses that. Boy, you guys type fast. So here's a little bit more detail on the agent training and certification. I think I've already stated clearly that any participating agents must be certified by Covered California. The training is expected to begin in August of 2013. We don't have a date yet or a location. So I'll at the end provide the information that you'll need to get the updates and stay tuned for other bulletins and the specific dates and times. We do expect the training to be either a combination of in-person and computer-based training, but also exploring the option with so many agents that are ready to get certified. We may need to provide the training completely computer-based. So we're still working on that. Anytime you see TBD in brackets, that means to be determined. So there's a bunch of these things we haven't finalized yet, but we're working on it. The agent training certification is expected to be somewhere between 8 and 12 hours for year 1. That does not necessarily mean that you'll have to do that every year for renewal, but we could provide or require a refresher for year 2 if you're already certified in year 1. That would just be a refresher or an update. So we appreciate your feedback and input on how much training is enough or too much. I assure you that if it's 8 to 12 hours, we're not making it that long just to be punitive or punish you. There's a lot to show and a lot to teach, and it is a requirement of the Affordable Care Act to provide certain training curriculum. Some of that content, just to be a little less mysterious, some of it is an overview of the Affordable Care Act. Others are systems training, how to use the system that will be supporting all of this enrollment effort. A lot of it will be a requirement to learn how to enroll folks in subsidized coverage and to clearly understand how that works and the tools provided to verify eligibility for subsidies. And of course, the plan tools and the shop and compare tools and all of the other things that you'll be able to use in setting up your profile. So if we can figure out how to make it a little more digestible in less than 8 hours, we will. We will likely break it up into parts if it's going to be more than 7 or 8 hours. So I appreciate your feedback on that. I probably have about 22 questions that are all asking about the cost of the training. I didn't think to put that on the slide simply because we don't have the answer to that yet. But in as much as these would be offered for continuing education credit, we would likely have a registration fee, nominal registration fee, that would be on par with what you would normally pay for CE credit. So again, it's not going to be some massive amount that would be prohibitive. It would be something on par with what agents already pay for continuing education. Another point, and I see some of the questions we're getting are asking this. It is one training module for agents. So to the agents who traditionally serve the individual market, the IFP market only, or to agents who typically serve the small group market only, we are not providing two different types of training. I think as you go through and learn more about what is happening in the marketplace and certainly some of the trends that are happening, I think the marketplace would be best served if agents are trained for both individual and small group market products. So we're only offering one set of training. Around here we say agents are agents. So if you are, as I was, when I first got licensed in 1988, I was about 50-50. I was an IFP agent and a small group agent. And progressively over time, I personally found that I was probably more of a group agent and I did a lot less IFP. IFP is individual and family plan. I think that is changing in the marketplace in that I think small group agents might find that they need to be prepared to sell and serve employer-based coverage when they get asked through individual products and maybe vice versa. So, and also I'll try not to speak in acronyms. My apologies. Someone asked, what does SHOP stand for? SHOP is the Small Business Health Options Program. SHOP is an acronym, one of many new acronyms that we'll all get familiar with over time. So I'll try not to speak in acronyms. The ACA also is another term. You might know it as PPACA or Obamacare or something else like that. The Affordable Care Act is what the ACA stands for. Again, I'll try not to speak in acronyms. Happy to say that we've received very good, helpful input from CAHU, from NAIFA, from IBA West, and other regional agent associations, NCEBC, EDPA, and so on. I want to demonstrate to the agents that this is not training that we're developing out of thin air or out of some direction from the Fed. We do have the ability to design our own agent training curriculum, although every state does have to provide specific training. We developed the curriculum, so we're doing so with the cooperation of the agent associations and agents that serve on our advisory group. So, and we invite you to provide information or input if you have any around anything actually, but specifically around training and certification. Moving to the next topic, which is the agent contract. Another question that seems to come up often would be around what agents should expect in terms of the contract terms. Will these be vested contracts, meaning will the commissions be protected from being higher in 1 year but retroactively reduced in the following year, or other things like that? I think these are all very fair questions to ask, and again, just so you know the spirit of what we are aiming to do, Covered California absolutely needs to have the support of agents. So you can expect us to have contract terms and language that are familiar to agents, that are similar to your existing contracts. So that would mean, unless that changes radically, vested contracts, standard broker of record policies. So, for example, an agent might be broker of record or replaced by another agent, but in the case of Covered California, if you are a certified agent and someone acquires your client on a broker of record letter, the winning agent would have to be certified also. So in that respect, you have the protection of knowing that you could only lose a broker of record to another certified agent. But again, all of the policies and languages, it's our intent to mirror what is already a standard in the marketplace today, including survivorship and transfer policies and all the other language that is common in agent contracts today. There are a couple that might be unique, and I've called some of these out. We do require agents to maintain their carrier appointments in the sense that we are not requiring the health plans to appoint all agents. So agents in the marketplace today, you may, let's say the exchange has 12 insurance plans, carriers in the exchange, and you are appointed with 10 of them. We will not require the other 2 to appoint all agents, but we are hoping and working with the health plans, the carriers, to develop reasonable methods to appoint all agents as reasonably possible. In the SHOP, because of the structure of SHOP, the Small Business Health Options Program, agents would be appointed under the SHOP master agreement. So effectively, agents would be appointed in SHOP for all of the carriers that participate in SHOP. Again, SHOP being the Small Business Health Options Program. SHOP is no longer an acronym. Now that I've defined it a couple of times, I can now say SHOP. It's otherwise a mouthful. Errors and omissions requirements, and I don't know that that is especially standardized across all plans. I think the minimum requirements for E&O insurance is about $1 million, and I expect that that would be a standard that we would continue with. So if you have any questions or want to look into something with your E&O carrier, it might be to verify what amount you have and whether that's going to be sufficient for this role with Covered California. We will also ask, just as standard contracts, but we will ask agents to adhere to our brand rules. And our brand rules for Covered California might be a little bit different. As Covered California is the state exchange, in many ways we will have contract or brand rules or guidelines that are similar to what carriers already have, but there are some specific rules, and I put in parentheses Assembly Bill 1761. AB 1761 is California law that protects state exchanges, or protects us, Covered California, against anyone I guess pretending to be or claiming to be affiliated with the exchange without a authorization from us. So when I talk about brand rules, I think some of these might be common sense. You cannot call yourself the exchange. You can say that you're an exchange certified agent. You can use our logo as long as it adheres to our brand and logo rule. But I highly suggest that you don't secure a domain name that says I am the coveredcaliforniaexchange.com. That would be one extreme example of what we don't want you to do. And of course, code of conduct. These again are, I think language that is fairly typical in most contracts, but we may have some anti-steering language, very specific language that means that agents would know that they're supposed to fairly and affirmatively market all plans in the interest of the consumer, not what the plan pays a higher commission than another plan, and that sort of thing. I should pause on that, and I don't mean to say that in an insulting manner as though you need to be told that. It is a requirement by law, so I know that when we've said that in other conversations, some agents react offended by that, that we would call that out. I think, again, it's already part of the Health and Safety Code and Department of Insurance rules, and it is also part of the Affordable Care Act, and that's the reason why I'm calling that out. It's required by law. We don't mean to insult you. So the popular question, the big question is agent compensation, and judging by the number of questions we've had on this topic, I probably should have started with this. So my apologies for putting this way on slide 8 or wherever the heck we are. Agent comp, well, not even 8, it's even further. In the shop exchange, the commissions are paid by Covered California. Since we are working with multiple health plans, aggregating that premium, we will also pay commissions to agents so that you get your commissions all on one bill, not from 6 or 7 different health plans. And so the commission rate would be, and we've said this in other board meetings, so this is already adopted policy by the state of California, that in shop, agents will be paid a market competitive commission. So what does market competitive mean? I think that's a very fair question to ask. In the marketplace today, agents' commissions are within a pretty tight band of percentage of premium. If the market stays more or less the same as it does today, so will we. If the commissions change in the marketplace, we'll be competitive with that. What is not happening, and again, this is a policy decision that was made, I believe presented in August and ratified or the board approved, I think in September, was that the exchange saw no need to influence the change of agent commission. We don't believe it's our role to do that, and I think there's enough already happening in the marketplace due to MLR, medical loss ratio requirements, and other policies where I think it's fair to say that agent commissions, if they're going to stay the same, we don't need to say that. And if they're going to be lowered, we don't need to drive that change either. That's something that might be a market factor that happens on its own. We don't know when. I suppose we'll have to know when we launch, but I couldn't tell you what market competitive means. So not to be mean, but I might defer that question to the carriers. So if you want to know what our commissions will be, you might want to ask the carriers if they have any plans to change agent commissions. They might be able to tell you. In the individual market, commissions will be paid by the carriers. So in the individual market, Covered California does not collect premiums, nor do we pay commissions. So all of that will happen directly through the carriers. So the insurance companies or the carriers that participate in the exchange, they will bill your individual customers, and they will also pay the commissions to agents directly, same as they do today. So the second bullet says same commissions as non-exchange business. What that means is we're requiring the carriers, the insurance carriers that participate in the exchange, to pay the same commission for business sold inside or outside the exchange. All of this is intended to protect steerage. The exchange does not want to be disadvantaged because higher commissions are paid outside the exchange. So we're requiring the plans to pay the same market competitive commissions, the same commission you get paid under your non-exchange business. And the last point is by law, we cannot compensate for Medi-Cal or CHIP enrollment. This is not us being punitive or trying to restrict compensation of agents. By law, we're not allowed to compensate for enrollment in Medi-Cal and CHIP. So that's probably not a strange bit of news to most agents. We're getting a few of those sorts of questions, so I wanted to make sure I punctuated that point clearly. And the same is true if you're enrolling in SHOP and you have folks that are enrolled in Medi-Cal or CHIP, whether it's in SHOP or in the individual market, the same is true. Medi-Cal and CHIP enrollment agents cannot be compensated. The next question is regarding general agents, and this is a common question, so I'll try to be succinct and clear on this one. There are no general agent contracts in the individual market, or I should say we will not pursue general agent contracts in the individual market, but we will in the small group market. Today there are nearly a dozen, maybe more, general agents operating in the state of California, serving the small group health insurance marketplace. We have every expectation or plan to contract with multiple general agents, and that's a process that we're working on right now. We do hope to have our general agent agreements and be able to share the details of who's going to participate and what contracts we'll have by 2013. I'm trying to speed through the remaining slides so that I can leave sufficient time for the Q&A, and we've got some really good questions here. So our room here, I'm joined by our shop team and our technical team that will help sort through some of the questions so that we can jump into the Q&A. In the following slides, I might answer some of those questions. The products that you'd expect to see in the exchange, I wish I could tell you today who those plans will be, but we will in a few months. So in May 15th, we'll be able to tell you the specific carriers that participate in both the individual and the shop exchange. In the individual marketplace, and I know agents typically refer to this as IFP. We don't generally use IFP, but we might. So I'll use IFP just so you know what I'm talking about, individual and family plans. Expect to see some traditional plans. These are the carriers that you're familiar with and probably sell today. And there may also be some new players, some new licensed plans that might be historically Medi-Cal plans and that sort. So both traditional and new products being available in the marketplace. In the individual marketplace, there are advanced premium tax credits, another acronym to learn, APTC. So advanced premium tax credit is applicable in the individual marketplace and is only applicable in covered California. So I think that's going to be a very big interest to those obviously who had access or affordability concerns. The APTC in the individual marketplace will help make coverage affordable to an estimated 2.7 million Californians. And also online tools. I emphasize that the purpose of the online tools are to provide a more efficient and easier process for consumers to use so that they can shop and compare and look at plans in a side-by-side comparison to be able to look for providers, to look beyond price and network, also compare their choices based on quality standards, which again isn't typically available in a side-by-side view in the individual marketplace, at least in a way that will be presented on Covered California. And again, with the agent's role being so important in this effort, all of this available. Everything that the consumer has access to, agents will also have access to. And again, the ability to enroll your customers via your profile and your portal would be very important, so that all of that business that you quote and enroll is accessible on your agent portal and profile. On the shop side, for Small Business Health Options program, the first bullet says employee choice. What that means to say is we will offer a choice not standardly available to employees in the traditional small group market. So in the shop, an employer will be able to select and set their budget based on a metal tier. So let's say, for example, an employer will select the silver metal tier. And I'll cover at the end what the metal tiers mean, bronze, silver, gold, and platinum. But let's say an employer selects the silver tier and selects a benchmark plan to set their budget. So an employer may say, I will take company X and their plan B, and I'll pay 80%, my contribution will be 80% of that benchmark plan. The employees will be able to select any plan offered in that metal tier. So the employer can have a predictable budget, and the employees can have a selection or choice of plans within that tier. On the employer tax credit, the employer tax credit is important in that this is underutilized. The employer tax credit now for small business is available today at up to 35% of the employer's premium contribution for employee premium. Many employers aren't taking advantage of it. They either don't know about it or find it too complex, or some other reason. But at any rate, this will be increased to 50%, up to 50% of the employer's premium contribution in 2014. So today that premium tax credit is applicable for all business in the small group market. In 2014, that will be available only in the shop with Covered California. So I make the important distinction. Shop is employer tax credit, and in the individual market, it's advanced premium tax credit. And not interchangeable. It's one or the other. And also online tools. The online enrollment system will support enrollment for both the individuals and the small group marketplace. It is the same platform, the same technology platform, so you don't have two different systems to flip-flop to. You'll have one integrated system to do that enrollment with. Carrier participation, I think I've already said that. We had, and currently through a competitive bid process with many plans participating in the bid. The plans are required to bid through an active purchaser process, meaning rather than us say that here's what we want, any plan can participate, we are requiring the plans to compete for business. And we will select a limited number, not all willing carriers, but we'll select the winning bidders based on a variety of criteria, including quality, rates, network access, and so on. We'll know who those carriers are by mid-May. And last on this page is supplemental dental and vision. We have made it very clear that we intend to offer supplemental dental and vision options for both the shop, the small business, and the individual market. We'll have more details on that soon. This may, with all of the stuff that we have to do, this may mean that we might be a little slow getting that out. So we're trying our best to get that available for January 2014. It is not a requirement of the Affordable Care Act. So if we have to be a little bit late on supplemental and dental vision, we may do that as quickly as possible later in 2014. It might not be available in January. This illustration, and for those of you on the phone may not see it, but I'll try to describe. The concept of metal tiers is not clear, so we've tried to develop a illustration that might help serve as a description or something that you can help explain it to your customers. But first, we have to explain it to you. There are in the small group marketplace only the 4 tiers, the bronze, silver, gold, and platinum. There are potentially catastrophic plans that would be a 5th tier outside of shop, but to keep it simple, I've illustrated just the 4, bronze, silver, gold, and platinum. The bronze plans are the actuarial equivalent of 60% coverage. So what this is intended to do is to make it easier for consumers and agents for that matter, make it easier for agents and consumers to understand the quality of the benefit that they're selling or buying. I think many agents who have been doing this for a long time have probably heard, or they themselves have faced challenges of how do you compare one plan's $30 PPO copay with another plan's $30 PPO copay plan. Many times those 2 plans don't sync up and often are difficult to try to compare apples to apples when deductibles, co-insurance, in and out of network, annual maximum benefits, physical therapy, DME, prescription, a lot of these things may not be comparable. So what you'll find in 2014, and this is in and out of the exchange, this is applicable market-wide, plans will now be categorized or be defined by their metal level or their actuarial value. So a bronze plan, so for consumers or agents, I think you'll have a lot more simplicity in trying to describe to a client or compare to a client what that plan covers. So bronze coverage would be the actuarial equivalent of 60% coverage. The silver plan would be the equivalent of 70% coverage, gold 80%, and platinum 90%. These can both be met with either co-payment or co-insurance. So these aren't literally co-pay plans or co-insurance plans, but again, the actuarial value is being assessed in a way that allows you to compare plans in a true apple-to-apple, side-by-side comparison. Keep in mind also another thing that might be different that isn't commonly done, at least when looking at spreadsheets of plans. We typically focus on the premium, the cost of the premium, the health plan's premium, and not necessarily combining that with the out-of-pocket maximums. I think that would be a different illustration or a different view that the marketplace will now look at both the premium co-payments and the share of cost, the combination of that cost. So again, and I think for this meeting, this is as much depth as I want to go into, but we'll cover more detail in follow-up. And last, on our stakeholder input slide here, this is a screenshot to show you the 2 websites that we currently maintain. We have our new website that is consumer-facing called coveredca.com. Coveredca.com is our consumer-facing website. You'll see that there's some FAQs and some fact sheets that are posted there, information provided in general for consumers, for both individual and small business. What you will not see is a lot of detail yet for agents, and that is coming. So I've heard some feedback already from many of you, and very glad to say that we're going to be putting more robust information for agents. On that coveredca.com website, we also have a countdown, and this daily countdown shows how many days we are away from January 1st, 2014, to help remind all of us of how close we are to having a new marketplace and guarantee issue and subsidies and that sort of thing. So again, this is a consumer-facing website. Below, if you're looking at the webinar, you'll see our current website, which is the California Health Benefit Exchange website. This is our hbex.ca webinars, our board briefs, our stakeholder information. There's a ton of information there, but what we learned is we've been compiling a lot of information. It's not easy to find. So we will try to sort that out in a manner that's easier for agents and small business and consumers to find information and put it both here or relevant information on the coveredca.com website. I do want to invite you, though, as I'm talking about our government, our .gov website. On there, we have input opportunities for agents and any stakeholders in California to provide input on a variety of topics. So we invite you to share your input through that info email box there. And also on both websites, you can sign up for updates and other information. Whew, that was a lot. So now I'll try to speed through some of the questions that I think have come up most often. So the first question I've got is, can we get a copy of the slides? You might have joined us late, but we did record this webinar, so we'll post both the webinar and the slides on our website. It's already up. The slides are already up, so great, it's already there. The other thing that we'll do is any questions, and there's going to be a lot of them, questions we cannot answer today, we'll do our best to post them on the website. Let's see. The group size for SHOP is a common question also that we're getting in. Again, all of these FAQs are available on the website, so if you're taking copious notes and lose your notes, go back to the website, we'll have information there. But the small group market for California is defined up to 50 employees, so small business are employer groups with fewer than 50 employees. And also another important reason why we want agents to get their information from us and not from other websites or maybe national information. The Affordable Care Act in some states, have gone up to 100 employees, and California chose to stay within the current statute of small groups under 50. Another question about HSA plans, will there be any? High deductible plans will absolutely be offered in Covered California, and we very deliberately made sure that those would be plans that would be HSA compliant. So the answer is yes to that question. Other questions regarding paper applications. The Affordable Care Act requires us to enroll both online, paper, telephone, and fax. So there will be 4 ways to enroll both in the individual and the small group market. But I will encourage, I think it's to the agent's advantage to make the absolute most of the online technology so that we can maintain lower administrative costs. And I think you all appreciate that lower admin costs means that agent commissions aren't threatened by MLR, medical loss ratio. Good question. Will it be necessary for agents to have a website? Absolutely not. It's not a requirement, but I think it might be a good idea. As I said earlier in the webinar, the ability in the future to, if we make that available, to link our site to your site might be an advantage, so you may want to consider it. I'm laughing because there's a few questions that are asking, hey, are you the same Michael that worked at so-and-so? Probably. My background, I worked on the carrier side for 7, almost 8 years with Blue Shield of California. I was the director of sales there, based in San Francisco. So I might know many of you from that. And also an agent and general agent for 14 years in LA. So I may know you from one of those 2 life experiences. But thank you for asking. Are tax credits for employers only available in SHOP? Today, they are available outside of SHOP because there is no SHOP. So tax credits are available for employers up to 35% and increases in 2014 to up to 50% of the employer's contribution to employee premiums. And in 2014, employer tax credit is only applicable in covered California, only in the shop. Very good questions. Give me just a moment to skim through the questions. We're getting some good questions around participation, minimum participation and minimum contribution rates. We put out in a board brief that asked if we would be setting new percentages or doing something different. Our general default is to match the marketplace and not disrupt or change or be grossly prohibitive or restrictive in the marketplace. So that said, our minimum contributions and minimum participation rates are expected to be similar to what they are standardly in the current small group market. So this would be, for example, a minimum of 50% employee contribution and roughly 75% participation of employees. But that said, there are some new rules and a new FAQ that will go out and share some of the other updates that are coming from Health and Human Services and through, by way of the law, both state and federal. Quote engines. I'm getting questions asking about quote engines. Will we make our rates available outside of covered California? Absolutely. That's our desire. I suppose we can't make them do it, but I think they want to. I'll share personally my own personal experience. When I worked at a carrier, I think I just said who, but when I worked at a carrier, we saw the advantage of providing the rates to the quote engines in a proactive manner because I think they can otherwise get the rates anyway. So they're public information. Rather than have them find our rates on their own, I think there's an advantage to giving the rates proactively to the quote engines, to the GAs and other proprietary quote engines. That's absolutely my, thank you, Juan. That's absolutely my desire to make sure that the quote engines have our rates and are available both on our website and the other websites. The question is, are rates going to be based on employee or employer zip codes? We absolutely expect to have rates made available based on employee zip code. There's a little bit of confusion in the marketplace around this and other factors, so we are trying to be as natural to the market. So the majority of the plans today based on employee zip codes, we believe we will also. Very good question. Will an employer pay more premium if they use an agent? Absolutely not. I think at the kickoff of this meeting, I said that agents have some history and some not necessarily good history with the exchange concept. And for those of us who have been around a while, you might remember the health insurance plan of California, or the HIPIC. And if you remember that early on when it was launched, AB 1672 was passed in 1992, and in 93, the state exchange, or the HIPIC, was launched. And the mistake I think they made was that they offered rates lower if you worked without an agent, and higher rates or added commissions if you worked with an agent. We have absolutely nothing like that on our mind, and we have, it's actually not a maybe, it's absolutely clear that we're not doing that. So the rates are the rates. There is absolutely no incentive or advantage to not use an agent financially. And I'll add to that, we want to be very clear that the exchange, again, values the role of the agent. And if you think about it, even from our perspective, us not having an agent role involved to service this account means we have to staff for this added administrative burden. So we'd much rather have that be the agent's role and compensate you fairly for that. So thank you for asking that question. We're getting questions around agency appointments or individual appointments with Covered California. We don't have all of the details of that ferreted out, but I would expect that the appointment would be at a individual level. So whoever's signature is going on an application, that person needs to be trained and certified. So if you're an independent agent, then it's kind of a no-brainer. But if you're an employee of an agency, I think at the individual level, we will require whoever's signature goes on that application, or whoever facilitates the enrollment, that person would need to be independently certified and trained. Very good question. Give us just a minute. I think we're wrapping up, so I want to see a very good question about AB 1672. Will it still be in effect? AB 1672 is the law that was passed in '92. It goes by other names now. It's Insurance Code 10700, 10705, and a few other health and safety codes. It is replaced now by AB 1083. So Assembly Bill 1083 was passed into law and now takes some of what we call AB 1672 and converts that over to comply or conform to the ACA. So the Affordable Care Act, both state and federal, married up with existing insurance and health and safety law, are now updated. So what changes in that, among several things, but some of the big ones are RAS. Someone just asked if RAS will continue. Risk adjustment factors in small group go away in 2014. There are no more risk adjustment factors in 2014. I'll add to that. That is also market-wide. That's not an exchange change. This is a market-wide change. And I'll try to be clear. So many of the things that I described are actually market-wide, not just in the exchange, in the shop. So that's a very good question. Risk adjustment factors go away, which means underwriting effectively goes away. What underwriting will be replaced by is essentially verifying whether or not an employer is a qualified small group, and whether or not they are eligible for coverage as a small group in California, both in and out of the exchange. So underwriting in the sense that we know it goes away in 2014. Let's see. Give me just a second. There will be other webinars, or I'm getting questions around when other webinars will happen. I think early on, and I hope I said so early, that this webinar is intended specifically for licensed insurance agents. If we have anyone who is a non-licensed agent who would be more interested in serving in an assister role, there is a second assisters webinar that will be on March 14th. That's a Thursday from, I believe, 1 to 2:30. So you can go to our website and get that information. And any assisters, non-licensed agents, any assisters that want to get information can call 888-402-0737. And again, I apologize if you sat through a whole hour and didn't hear anything related to assisters. But this webinar at the beginning was announced to be specifically for licensed insurance agents. One question here, I think we're getting ready to wrap up. Will we verify that the applicant is a U.S. citizen? The answer is yes. For the individual marketplace, the only persons who can enroll in Covered California and the only persons able to receive subsidy must be legal residents, must be a U.S. citizen. So thank you for that question. In the shop, they don't necessarily check the federal hub for citizenship status because it's expected that the I-9 process already goes through that in hiring. So, and by law, it's not required. So I think that answers that question. Let me see. Bear with me. I'm still screening through some of the questions. A very very simple question about what is the difference between shop and exchange. Well, that's a good question. So in California, there is one state exchange that's covered California. Within covered California, there are two parts, the individual market and the small group market. We call the small group market SHOP, which stands for Small Business Health Options Program. The individual market sometimes just gets generally referred to as the exchange, which makes it a little confusing sometimes, but there is one exchange called Covered California, under which there are two separate market segments, individual and group. I don't think I said it earlier, so I'll say it again. The marketplace is for SHOP, the small business segment, serves employer groups with fewer than 50 employees. Until 2016, it'll expand to employers with fewer than 100, and then 2017, larger groups can enroll. So we are defining what is a small group in stages. So if you missed that, it's employer groups under 50. Until 2016, it goes to 100, and 2017 over 100. Let's see. I can see that we're already running out of time. The slides are already up on the website. I thought I'm getting someone who says they're not, so let me just make sure real quick. Is it on the Stakeholder tab? Okay, so again, there's two websites, and my apologies if I didn't make it clear. Our slides are on the hbex.ca.gov website. So HB as in Health Benefit Exchange, or you could just go to healthexchange.ca.gov. If you go to there, under the tab at the top, it's the third tab that says Stakeholders. That's you. And it's placed under SHOP. We don't have an Agents tab set up yet, so we put it under SHOP. And under there, you'll see that we already have the information posted there. And a recording of the webinar will be also posted there as well. I think we're ready to wrap up. I'll use the remaining seconds I have left to thank you for joining us today. We invite your comments and questions. You can send your comments to us at info@hbex.ca.gov, or sign up for our listserv and our mailing list at either website. And we're happy to share information with you as often as we can. I really want to thank you. You're receiving some really good comments on the comments board, and really appreciate your attendance here. And my apologies for this. I'll say this for the recording. My apologies for anyone who tried and couldn't get onto the call. Again, the website is HBEX, Health Benefit Exchange, hbex.ca.gov, or coveredca.com. Thank you very much for joining us, and we're signing off. Thank you.